on their throat. Now it's gone. There's the Parkinson's disease. Now it's gone. There's the eczema. Now it's gone. There's the paralysis from the surgery. Now the person's walking.
Hello and welcome to the Pacific Channel. I'm your host, Steve Doherty. In this audio clip, a woman asked Dr. Joe Dispenza why it's so damn hard, that's the way she said it, to get to the place of belief or knowing. I think she's referring to believing or knowing that you can heal yourself of anything and attract anything that you want. She's going to also ask, what are those big hurdles for people to get over? One is the time to do it, time to meditate, she means, and the other is being in it or doing it properly. So she's basically asking, why is it so hard to embody the feeling that you need to have to create that mystical experience or miraculously heal yourself? She's also going to say that there are so many blockages and that it's a difficult thing to achieve. Dr. Joe really doesn't address the blockage part of the question, but after they discuss everything else, I'd like to make a point about that. This woman asked a number of good questions. A lot of us struggle with the same thing. We do the work, we do the meditation, we may even have what feels like a mystical experience, but then our physical problem is still there, for example. Or we do the work, we meditate every day, but we don't ever have a mystical experience. Dr. Joe starts off answering the question about why it's so hard to get to that place of belief or knowing by saying that it's easier to forget what we've learned than it is to remember, and that we are so wired for limitation, right? He says that one of the most important things is having the right information. If knowledge is power, then knowledge about ourselves is self-empowerment. Next, he's going to say that you've got to understand the information so well that you can explain it to someone else, which is proof that it is wired in your brain. When you understand it, then you are prepared to have the experience. So you must understand what you are doing, why you are doing it, and you must assign meaning to the task. When you make meditating a priority and make it important by assigning meaning to it, then you'll get much more out of it. Also, Dr. Joe is about to say that if you really understand the what and the why, then the how becomes instrumental. When you have the experience and create the new emotion, you are training the body to adapt to the new chemicals and hormones. This is where the new programming happens, and this is why it's so important to do it often. It's really kind of ironic, right? But our job is to teach and train your body that feeling good is a good thing, especially if we are used to feeling down and depressed. Let's listen to Dr. Joe explain it now, and then we'll discuss it in more depth.
I'm your host, Dr. Joe Dispenza. Let's begin.
Well, you just landed on... I have two things I want to ask in mind, but the first was, why is it so damn hard? Like, why is it so hard to get to that place where you can, whether it be believe that leads to knowing, like why, what are those big hurdles for people to get over? And, one is making the time to do it, but then there's like being in it and actually in it being hard. Like I struggle with that sometimes. Where you really to embody the feeling and to really like get yourself there. It feels like there's so many blockages. It's a difficult thing to achieve.
Yeah. Well, I think it's so much easier to forget this information than to remember it. I think we're wired, so wired for such limitation, and as I said, my belief about human potential has changed so dramatically. So the first thing I think is so valuable is this information, and the right information.
Sure.
We do our best to combine quantum physics with neuroscience, with neuroendocrinology, with psychoneuroimmunology, mind-body connection, epigenetics, protein metabolism, cellular biology, electromagnetism. Why? Because if knowledge is power, knowledge about yourself is self-empowerment. So every time you learn something new, you're forging connections in your brain. But the research shows if you don't repeat it, you don't review it, you don't think about it, they prune apart within hours or even days. So if learning is making those connections, then remembering is maintaining and sustaining them. Okay, so if you can build a model of understanding with people, and nothing is left to conjecture, nothing is left to superstition, nothing's left to dogma, and they can learn that information, and instead of getting on their cell phone and scrolling through their social media or looking at whatever, watching TV or getting distracted, if they learn that information and they have the opportunity to teach it back to somebody, and they begin to share that information right in the event, right? And
it's like so the retreats. In the retreats, yeah. when you give information to people, you're like, okay, now talk about it to each other, and we stop and we talked about it, and it become, if you don't understand the information well enough, you can't explain it.
Yeah, it's not wired in your brain, but if you can explain it, you're installing the neurological hardware in your brain for what? In preparation for the experience. So we've discovered the more you understand what you're doing, and why you're doing it, the better results. The how gets easier, and you assign meaning to the task. And when you assign meaning to a task, the prefrontal cortex turns on and says to the brain, shut up, quiet down here. This is a moment where I want to really execute really well. And it silences all the other circuits in the brain so you can focus on a single-minded thought. So if there's doubt, if there's conjecture, if there's superstition, then there's hope, and there's trying, and there's wishing, and there's wanting. But if you really can understand the what and the why, then the how becomes so much more instrumental. So because you install the circuitry in your brain to do something with it. Okay, so if we give people numerous opportunities to experience the truth of that philosophy, that theory, that knowledge, that information, it's still void of experience. Get enough people together and teach them, instruct them how to do it, give them numerous opportunities to overcome themselves, numerous opportunities to connect. Sooner or later, they're going to start figuring it out. And that's what happens at our events now. So when they have the experience of doing it well, and they feel the emotion, like, wow, that felt really good. The emotion is now teaching the body chemically to understand what the mind understood. So it's not just in the mind now, it's in the body. You're embodying the truth of that philosophy. Now, you get that feeling of getting it right, and you feel unlimited, you feel grateful, you feel empowered, you feel whatever that is, and you're not getting it.
It can get visceral, like really.
It should be visceral.
Or you cry, or you get excited. You feel it. You can feel it in your heart. You can feel it in your whole body.
It should be visceral, right? And so now when you have that feeling, you go, oh, I got to remember this feeling. This is what I'm doing it for, right? Okay. Yeah. So then if you've done it once, then you got to be able to do it again. And that's the key. And if you can keep repeating the experience, you start mastering the knowledge, and you neurochemically condition your mind and body to begin to work as one. And when you've done it enough times, well, you know this. You excelled in automotive racing, so it gets automatic. It gets easy. It gets second nature. The things that you had to put so much conscious attention on in the beginning, you actually don't have to pay a lot of attention to, because you've kind of mastered. It's hardwired now. It's automatic.
Well, we're programmable.
Right, exactly.
Which leads me to what I'm curious. I want to have a little bit of almost a philosophical or maybe perspective conversation on what are we, and tell a story that I experienced. I went ahead and gave myself a hero's dose of psilocybin and experienced myself as waveform. All that reality is intersecting with these waveforms. Sometimes they cross, sometimes they go over each other over and over again, whatever. That's what it was. And that to get back to being human, I had to agree to the mind, which essentially was the ego, the stories. It's the lie. I knew it wasn't real to be human, but that I had to agree to the mind to build that construct. And so that kind of fits in with the things you're saying is being in this waveform. And so it makes me wonder, what are we? And then when I think about you explaining us as humans, whether it's breaking the habit of being yourself and reprogramming yourself, like your book, or, the things you just said, it's like, we're a lot like a computer. What the hell are we?
Well, look, I mean, that's a pretty heavy question, but
you're up for it.
I will tell you that at our very nature, we are divine. At our very nature, we are the blooming of material, material reality, right, is the most stable form of energy. That's really what it is. You start climbing up closer to source, and it gets way more fluid, way more dynamic. But matter is the slowest frequency that we perceive with our senses, and so that 1% of reality that we perceive, don't exclude yourself in that equation. You're part of that. There's a 99% of the unknown self that has fallen source from singularity, from oneness, from wholeness, from pure love, all the way down into density, fooled by our senses into the illusion of separation. Why did we come from source? Because we were one, and then what if we were many? And what if is there anything else but oneness? And that question starts the whole journey of every single person having a piece of source in them to answer the question, to explore, how big is eternity? How much can we experience? And now the journey is down in the density, and then you experience everything, and then all of a sudden you get to a point where nothing is making that feeling of emptiness go away. And you ask the same question. This is when the soul wakes up and you start wondering, is there anything else besides this? Is this it? And that's the moment we start remembering that we are divine. And so at our very core, we're pure love. That's what we are. And so then the journey is to discover the unknown self. The journey is, can I heal myself? If I heal myself, can I heal somebody else? Which is, we have data to show that you can. If I heal myself and I heal someone else, can I heal someone else at a distance? We have data to show that you can do that. These are all new experiences. Yeah. And the feelings that come from the experience of people who are actually healing another person is a feeling that's transcendent of anything in the three-dimensional world. The watching a mother whose child was born with a birth defect that never engaged with her brothers or couldn't hold her head up and was listless after one remote healing is now smiling and looking at her brothers. I mean, in the mother who tells that story, we're all on the call there and we're sobbing in so much, where there's an empathy that takes place where you're contributing into someone's life in some way, and you're sharing the feeling that person is feeling. And the greatest form of gratitude is when we receive gratitude. So you're part of someone else's transformation, and pro-social networks switch on, and the species of human beings does something so important. We move closer together, we commune, we trust, we support, we inform, we love, we heal, we shine. And then our appreciation for everything in the moment. We see more beauty in the moment. Stress hormones divide us, separate us, cause us to be selfish. This is so who we are
it's less of who we really are.
Exactly. We move further away from love, right? So, of course, speaking from my present state of ignorance, what I've discovered is that when people have that moment of connection, we see this on their brain scan. Their brain scan goes into such an aroused that scientists that look at it actually think the person's having something really wrong go on with them, because they think seizure, they think, what is this? But the arousal is not coming from fear. The arousal is not coming from pain. And the arousal is not coming from anger or aggression. That's what typically switches on the arousal system. This arousal is ecstasy. This arousal is bliss. This is the person actually dipping into the divine and touching it, and they feel it in every single atom in their body, all resonating in order. The side effect of that is some transcendental experience that produces a shift in the perception of the way they perceive reality. The spectrum of reality is broadened, and the feeling is not chemical. The feeling is kind of electric. It's kind of frequency, it's energy, and that person many times has a biological upgrade. There's the tumor on their throat, now it's gone. There's the Parkinson's disease, now it's gone. There's the eczema, now it's gone. There's the paralysis from the surgery, now the person's walking. Their interaction with energy and frequency is causing a part of the brain called the autonomic nervous system, the limbic brain, is resonating in such high frequency. Remember, stress is autonomic dysregulation. This is high amount of autonomic regulation, and every cell in the body is getting informed with more wholeness, more oneness, more love, and the cells emit more coherent light and information, and the person all of a sudden realizes never was outside of them. So the journey back to source, the journey back to oneness, the journey back, everybody gets to, you can be anybody you want to be in 3-dimensional. You can be any character you want to be in the virtual reality experiences, the simulation that we're experiencing. But if you're living by the same emotions every day, or you can't get out of bed because you can predict the feeling of everything that's going to happen in your life, then nothing is going to change until you change. And the discovery of, okay, most people have to hit their lowest point in their life where that nothing's making that feeling go away, to finally look at how they think, look at how they act, look at how they feel. My message is, why wait for that? And so what we're discovering is in 7 days, the science that we have is so compelling to show that in 7 days, there will be a host of biological changes that take place in a person's body to actually look like they're living in a new environment, they're living in a whole new life. So then, getting over yourself, to answer your question, is the difficulty. That's why people will say, it's too hard for me. But what they're really saying is, I don't believe in it. I really don't believe in it. Because if you believe in it, you got to show up. And if you don't believe in it, then you don't believe in yourself. And you don't believe in yourself, that means you don't believe in possibility. And if you don't believe in possibility, that means you can't believe in yourself, right?
Yeah.
So this idea
we're all
then,
potential possibilities.
Exactly.
We would love to give back to our Pacific family for all the love and support they have given us. We are offering 2 lucky winners a ticket to Dr. Joe Dispenza's week-long retreat in Sunshine Coast, Australia, worth $2,300 each. To enter the giveaway, you must be a subscriber to our channel Pacific. Like this video, comment how our channel has helped you. Share this video with any 5 people. And stay tuned on our channel as we will declare the winner soon. Please refer to the description below for more info. Good luck.
So, the blockages that this woman asked about are the negative thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that our subconscious minds hold on to for dear life. Your subconscious mind's job is to make sense of the world, define who you are, and keep you safe in your world without regard to you expanding, growing, creating, and attracting more into your life. My point is that if you don't remove those blockages somehow, then more than likely, no matter how hard you try and no matter what you do, it will be very difficult to improve your life. To me, that's where a healing modality tool like EFT is best used to remove those emotional blockages. So, Dr. Joe said that when you get good at meditating, your emotions then teach the body chemically. It's no longer just in the mind, it's in the body. You're teaching the body the emotions of feeling unlimited, or grateful, or empowered. Then it's just a matter of remembering that feeling, and if you've done it once, then you can do it again. Then he said that if you can keep repeating the experience, you start mastering the knowledge, and you neurochemically condition your mind and body to begin to work as one. And then you just do it until you get to the place that it's automatic. But what is it? What are we really doing here? What is the real goal? The goal is to raise your vibration to where your normal emotional countenance is around the vibration of love, joy, bliss, passion, and satisfaction, those higher vibrational feelings. The goal is to feel these good feelings as much of the time as you can. That's all. It's not rocket science, but it's not exactly easy to do if you aren't close to that feeling most of the time. The reason why it might seem hard to meditate is that in the beginning, you may not see any results. Nothing may seem to happen when you meditate other than you just feel relaxed and more peaceful. The work is to get the body conditioned to accept and even desire and want to have the new chemicals that the elevated emotions like gratitude and compassion create. I think the problem for most of us is that we think that feeling grateful or appreciative or even just better than what you feel right now is just not that important. But nothing could be further from the truth. We don't get it that simply feeling better and better will lead to perfect health and lots of wealth. It seems too easy and too unbelievable. We've been conditioned that it has to be hard, that it must be difficult, that we must suffer, that we have to prove ourselves worthy. And yet, all of those thoughts are thoughts from this 3D dimensional reality. not from the quantum world or source. An additional problem is that we can't just raise our vibration during meditation and then go back to our normal stressed out way of life afterward. We must find techniques and processes to raise our vibration during the day. This is why a lot of law of attraction teachers teach processes and techniques to raise your vibration without meditation. There are many processes such as journaling, scripting how you want your life to be, writing about things that you appreciate, writing your goals every day, taking a walk, going for a hike, calling a good friend, putting yourself into the receiving mode by getting a massage or pampering yourself some other way. Just more things like that. Esther Hicks, in her book, Ask and It Is Given, has about 20 processes that you can do to attract perfect health and more abundance into your life. But back to another question this lady asked. She says that we are a lot like a computer and asks, who the hell are we? Dr. Joe's response is that we are divine, but we only perceive of 1% of reality, and we are included. Then he said that we came from Source, and he asked, why did we come from Source? In other words, why did we come from Source down to Earth? His answer was that we are all one, that all of us are a piece of Source, and that we are here to explore oneness. I'd like to try to expand on this a little. The basis of life is freedom, the purpose of life is joy, and the result of life is expansion. We are divine, powerful, spiritual beings having a human existence, and we are the leading edge of Source, not the other way around. We constructed a world of limitation and lack so that we could experience expansion and abundance. We created a world of contrast and difficulty so that we could clarify what we want and what we prefer. And we knew that we had access to the power that creates worlds. But when we got here, we were taught otherwise. And some of us preferred to be born into a more contrasting life than others because we wanted to experience the bounce from difficulty to bliss, from hard times to good times. Not one of us wanted to be born into a feathered nest because we wouldn't get as much of a chance to embrace our powerful, spiritual, creative selves. Without contrast, there would be no photograph. Without contrast, there is no expansion. So in other words, be easy about all of this. It's all good. Nothing has gone wrong. No matter where you are in life, it's perfect. And things are going to get better and better for you now that you know how it all works. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Additionally, if you want to be eligible to win a free ticket to one of Dr. Joe Dispenza's week-long courses, please share this video to 5 of your friends. As a further reminder, we will hold our first free Law of Attraction and EFT healing session on Saturday, January 21st at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. For registration, please provide your email to the one shown in the description below. We will give you a client intake form that includes questions about what you hope to gain from the session, what you hope to heal, and a few other topics. I'm looking forward to seeing some of you, and I sincerely hope everyone who comes will find it to be a very beneficial experience. And now, if you have any questions, please ask them below. I'd love to answer your questions. I appreciate you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.